So Chandni, are you there? Are you okay to give us a quick wave so everybody can see you as well? I'm really excited for what you've got to share with us this morning as well. So again, I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to go off mute, and the floor is absolutely yours.
So hey everybody, I'm Chandni. That's how you pronounce my name, Chandni. I'm based in Mumbai right now. So I grew up, I was born and brought up here. And then I moved to New York in 2015. And then I came back to Bombay in 2022 last year. I was supposed to come back on vacation, but then I kind of just decided to move back home on a whim. I felt like I was happier in India. So I chose to like just move my life back from New York after 7 years back home. So I wanted to start with like my journey just from like my senior year of college. I went to School of Visual Arts. And this is when I had like my light bulb moment of like when I finally understood design. I was taking a portfolio class with Paula Shea and Courtney Gooch, and we were assigned like this project where we had to redesign record covers. And for me, like growing up in India, I think I didn't fully pay attention to a lot of the influences around me. But then when I moved to New York and then I'd come back home for summer vacation, I started noticing like a lot of the hand-painted signage. And then as well as like we have some beautiful trucks. So in my senior year, I kind of wanted to do something that paid homage to like my culture. So I found this book by Dan Eckstein, and it's called Horn Please. And the entire book basically captures all of these like beautiful trucks in India. They call trucks their wives, like truck drivers call the trucks their wives. So they like decorate these trucks and they have like beautiful like hand painted signage and then all of these illustrations as well. I think like when I moved to New York, like this is when like I started paying a lot more attention to my culture. I think it has influenced a lot of my work today, especially when it comes to like using type and color. I think color is one of the bigger things that I gravitate towards. I think everyone knows like Indian culture is super colorful. And I think my work speaks to that. This was another person, Painter Kafil. He's a hand painter based in Delhi. And he was like one of the first people that got me into design when I saw his work. And then I just wanted to share like my work from like 5 years ago. This is kind of like the record covers that I had made in my senior year of school. After I graduated, I moved on to Sunday afternoon. I was working with Beatrice, JC, and Ahmed, and we worked on this project called Canal Street Magazine. This was like a studio-initiated project. And since our studio was on Canal Street, we thought it'd be really cool to like capture the essence of the entire space and place. And so we started like working with like wanting it to be like this digital experimental magazine. And initially, like this is just some of the sketches I could find from like my archive to start with. And like we were playing with like a lot of different typefaces, trying to mess with them. And then finally, like once we settled on the final word mark, I animated it to see like how could we like capture the essence of Canal Street outside of like the logotype being like this super mixed up logo, like a scrambled up logo. I wanted it to feel dynamic as well. And then these are just like the 3 spreads that we had, and then just seeing like what the cover could look like animated as well. And then these are some of the interior spreads that we made. Just super fun, like experimental type stuff. This was more like just having fun with type, and then also just having a lot of fun with like the animation as well. and trying to like bring in some of the elements of Canal Street. So like if you've ever walked down, like you'll hear people like whisper, "Do you want a bag? Do you want to watch?" And like trying to show that through animation. And then all of these pictures were clicked by Ahmed Klink, who is a co-founder at Sunday Afternoon and a photographer. And then last year, I wasn't in New York, but they printed the magazine issue. And then Beatrice Lozano, she's now a freelance designer. She works a lot with AR type. So she created this like super cool thing where like you can scan the magazine through your phone. And then like all the letters pop out. So after Sunday Afternoon, I was there for about 4 months. I joined Pentagram. I was at Pentagram for about a year. I've chosen not to show work that I made there today because it was just a really hard year of my life. Like that was when like COVID had hit as well. And yeah, I chose not to show it because I felt like it wasn't a very positive year and a positive experience that I went through in that year. So I left Pentagram after a year because I realized that as a designer, like I wanted something that felt a little more fulfilling. I wanted to work at a smaller design studio. I also wanted to work with a more diverse team. So I joined Working Assembly, also based in New York, founded by Jolene Delisle. I worked really closely with Chase, who was my associate design director. And I thought I'd take you through like one of my favorite projects that I worked on there. The client was called Loop. So Loop basically is a production platform that brings photographers from all around the world and makes them collaborate with brands. Something that I loved about the Loop was the fact that it really embodies like representation. So like if say like Nike wanted to have a shoot in India, they would be able to like hire an Indian photographer to do the shoot versus flying down a photographer from America. So I loved what they stood for. And so we started with like the brand ID. These are again like some of the logo sketches we made when we were first starting out with it. And then we loved this idea of stacking the U's. So a loop is basically, it's this device that makes you see photographs in higher definition or like more magnified. But we were using the two U's kind of stacked because we wanted to show them that we wanted to like portray that like it's a platform that like supports photographers and photographers support brands. So like having this like leveling system. And then we also made like a whole bunch of like marks to see like what that could be like. And then finally, like this is what we came up with. And then the mark as well. And then I made a quick like logo animation for them, just utilizing that idea of film strips as a system, a design system, and then having the logo reveal. And then this is just some more stuff like that we made like brand work and then swag. So currently I'm at Mojo Supermarket in New York. It's been founded by Mosed, and my design director is Cam. So I'm currently working in advertising. It's my first time working in advertising. I chose to like move from design studios to advertising because I felt like I had a pretty rounded experience working at studios and I wanted to try something different and something new. So I chose advertising as a stream. I think that it's definitely been super interesting, super fun. I've learned a lot here and I've been learning a lot every day. It's very different from design studios. I'll say that. But yeah, I work completely remote from India. So I work Eastern time. And yeah, so I chose not to share any of my work that I have on Instagram today because I felt like everybody's seen that and I don't share any of the work that I do professionally. Everything on my Instagram is my personal work. I love design. And yeah, I thought I'd share just some of the people that have inspired me through my journey. Cam and Chris, I'm currently working with them at Mojo. Beatrice was the one who like made me start posting my work, like my personal work on Instagram. She was like, you should like have kind of like this archive of your growth. Emily was my senior designer at Pentagram. And I think from her, I learned empathy. I think that's something that can be missing in the design industry sometimes. And it's something that I still like hold close to my heart today. I think that design with empathy and like having empathy for the people that you work with, for the people under you, for the people above you, goes a really long way. And that's been like one of my biggest takeaways while being in the industry for a few years now. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chandni. That was great. Just to give us some of the work that we don't see, and somebody put a message in the feed. Where do we find everybody, in terms of LinkedIn or Instagram, which we'll put into the feed? But it's great to see the other half of what we know of someone, and we don't know them personally, is what we maybe see on Instagram in our case. So to actually see your more kind of daytime work is great as well. I love the story when you went to the working assembly and you chose to go there in the beginning because it reflected your personal values, something that felt that was important to you. How important do you think that is to any designer in the future, and any organization, any agency, that we build our agencies, if you like, in a way that actually attracts a creative because of the values as well? If you could speak to that for a moment and how important that was for you.
I feel like for me, after Pentagram, the two studios that I've worked with have been pretty diverse. I think it's something that I was looking for because just someone from India, I think I bring a different point of view to design. I bring a point of view that's been influenced by my culture. And I also feel like when you work with a diverse team, like people could be from like Spain, people could be from Mexico, people could be from Vietnam, and like you really learn about all of these different points of views. And I think that at the end of the day, like it just makes like the work that you make with them is just so much better because everybody brings a lot to the table from their cultural influences.
That's so great. And so different to maybe what it was 10, 15, definitely 25 years ago when everybody was essentially from the same town or close by. So one last question. I mean, the color work that you have on your Instagram and your passion for, what's your favorite color?
Blue. It's okay. My Instagrams, I do like them.
Great. I'm glad you said that because I'm a Huddersfield Town fan. But of the abundance of millions of colors out there. Well, listen, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. That was so great. And I know it's late where you are. And thank you for, kind of sticking it out and staying up late.